Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes second, third or fourth to the SP favourite in at least 2 races every day this month. Max £25 per race. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Hi there, welcome along to the Weekend Racing Postcast. We're in our new Racing Post office in Southwark. We've got a new studio where we've got our own chairs, so hopefully we'll have some winners as well. I'm Bruce Millington. I'm delighted to be joined by Maddie Plale and James Hill. And from Paddy Power, we've got Frank the Tank Hickey, who's back from his holidays. He's been out in Rome, and hopefully he's full of winners. What have we got coming up? We've got the fag end of the flat season. We've got 3 races at Doncaster. We've got 4 races at Wincanton. It's their very popular card featuring the Badger Ales. We've got a fantastic little 3-runner heat at Aintree, which is very fascinating. All the best bets in Ireland, and we will look ahead to Sunday when we've got the Future Stars at Sandown featuring none other than Mike Bite and a stack of really good races over in Navan. So we'll get cracking with the Doncaster card. Farewell to the flat. Before we look at the races, a quick word on the star of the flat season, James.
It would have to be Enable. She was a star we wanted. She wasn't an absolute legend like a Frankel or a See the Stars, but she was brilliant, and her performance in the art will live long in the memory.
Are you going to go with Enable as well, Maddie?
Yeah, I think you've got to agree, but I was thinking this morning, the amount of mares we've got around at the minute. I mean, you look at Winks, Enable, you know, we've recently had the likes of Black Caviar, we have Found, superstar mares, great era for mares, and Enable, she's just fantastic, isn't she?
Frank, what have you thought of the flat season, mate? A good one?
Oh, yeah, it was good. Yeah, there wasn't be too many races. I'm more of a jumps man, so I live for the jumps, but, Enable, it's difficult to argue that she was the star of the season. Now, personally, I think Harry Angel's an absolute machine, and you can put a line through the run at Ascot. He'll be back bigger and better next year.
I thought the sprint division was really strong this year, didn't you? I mean, at various times we thought we had a great champion, but I suppose you look at Caravaggio, Batash, Harry Angel, we've had some really good ones, haven't we? So I think the sprint has been decent, haven't they?
And it's great that they're staying in training as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So next year should be really, really good. Okay, well, let's look at the first of our ITV4 races. It's the 205 at Doncaster, and it is a sprint. It's the Betfred Mobile Wentworth Stakes, a listed race. Plenty of runners, wide open. And how do Paddy Bower bet, Frank?
Yes, sir. Dansot is 5-2, Danzino and Dream of Dreams 11-2, Tarentum Star 8-1, Perfect Pasture and Saints are 11-1, and we're 12-1 Barn. Okay, now Paul Keeley can't be here, and Paul, if you're listening, I know you're not well, so good luck, mate. Get well soon. Love you lots. There's 2 horses here that he absolutely would adore because he loves an old horse on the flat, doesn't he? And we've got good old Marek and Gordon Lord Byron in opposition here. I've got a quiz question for you guys. You've each got to give me a number and see who's going to be nearest. How many races have Gordon Lord Byron and Marek run between them? You're going to have to go first, Frank, because I can't trust you not to be Googling because I can't see it. How many have they run between them? I'd say 80.
Right. Maddie?
I'll go 85.
I think it'll be somewhere in the 80s, so I'll go in between 83.
You've gone completely mad. That's absolute rubbish. They've run 161 races between them. Incredible, isn't it? They've both been on the go since 2010.
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay, anyway, who's going to win this race? Maddie Plale, you go first.
Oh, don't. Well, I actually looked at 3. First off, I looked at Dream of Dreams, but then I thought, I'm not sure he'll absolutely love the ground. Perfect Pasture, I know he's going to need more, but he's in absolutely flying form. He was a course and distance winner last month, and he actually won at Nottingham on Wednesday really easily. He's got some really smart form at Windsor. I think he won a listed race at the start of this season. That looks good now. And the other one then was Sainted, the filly William Haggis's. Absolutely loves soft ground, and again, should be really at home in this sort of race. So I can't really pick between those 2, but I'm as always, trying to go in between bigger prices.
Chair, but you've got to go for one. Come on, you're a tipster.
Right, I'll go for Sainted then. I think forgive her last run, she's got a really nice profile and she'll love these conditions.
Who do you like, James?
I like Danzino. I think he's a class act in the race. He put up a really good performance at Ascot earlier in the season, carrying a big weight. And his only run at Doncaster, I think it's one of his best according to Racing Post ratings. He hasn't really been in the best of form recently, but he's been running against some really top horses. He was in the Group 1 sprint on Champions Day last time. So I'm going to say he can return to form in this lesser company.
Okie dokes. And Frank, what about you?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't remember a couple of weeks ago I was making a point about a stat that in the sprint races at Doncaster, the highest draw is an incredible record. over 5 furlongs, the highest draw is won over 33% of the time, and it's not far off the same over 6 furlongs. And while 7 furlongs might be Sir Dan Slott's optimum trip, you couldn't but be impressed with him the last day over 7 when he put Jalot in his place very easily. He was beaten in a handicap of 109 at Leicester the time before, and I think basically he's drawn 14 of 14. He should travel into the race okay. I think he's going to be very difficult to beat. Now, I would have been interested at each way price in Perfect Danger or Flying Pursuit, but they're drawn 5 and 1 respectively, and I'm going to stick with the high draws. I think it's very important. Doncaster's a massive bias there, and I'm thinking that Sir Dan Slott will be a winning fav.
The 240, the Betfred TV EBF Stallions breeding winners Gillies Fillies Stakes listed race. How do you bet there, Frank?
Yeah, Vintage Folly is 15-8, Indulged 130, Time Chaser 9-2, Brief Visit 6-1, Empress Ali 9-1, Star Rock 12-1, or 14-1 bar.
James Hill, away you go.
I'm going to take Indulged to turn the Yarmouth form around from last time with Vintage Folly. I don't think she was quite at her best there, but runs before that would give her a real chance here. She's a course and distance winner. And it was a listed race last time as well at Yarmouth, but I don't think this race is as good a quality as that one. So apart from the favourite, I don't think she's got too much to worry about, and I'm going to go with her.
Who are you going for, Frank?
I'm with James here. I think Indulged probably a little bit unlucky. 2 runs ago at Nottingham not to beat Empress Ali. And while Vintage Folly was ahead of her last time, I think her best run was probably at Doncaster at the start of the season. She's been freshened up. She's got nearly 2 months off since. I can see her running really well, and even though the rating suggests she's 8 pounds inferior and she's giving weight, I think she'll probably be. I know we're 130, we're a little bit under. I'd probably just back her each way. I think there's 92 out there. I can't see her being out of the 3, to be honest.
2 votes for Indulged. Nicole Scherzinger, are you going to give 3 yeses?
No. I wouldn't say that. If you're looking at each way prices, come on, aim for something a bit bigger than
Why?
that.
A lot of pros, mate, like to have a short one each way.
That's because they have enough money to stake on it. They're not me.
It's a smart play. It's a smart play.
No, it's wise. I think that the 2 fillies mentioned should be hard to beat, but the one I'd give a mention to was Star Rock. She beat subsequent Group 3 winner God Given in May, and also went on to beat Cribbs Causeway, who's been an absolutely prolific winner this season. She's done all her winning over further, so it is a bit of a worried step back down in trip, but that gives her options, and you know she'll stay. So Star Rock maybe at a massive price.
The hardest race on the card is the 315. It's the Betfred November Handicap Stakes, the traditional big race to say farewell to the flat season. And Johnny G, quite fittingly, has the fav here in the famous maroon and white Sheikh Mohammed silks. Just how short is he now, Frank?
Yeah, he's 11-2 with us. Just a reminder, we're 6 places in this race too, so plenty of each way value. Tarlan's Park is 8-1, Saunter 9-1, Top Tug and Dance the Dream 10-1, Wild Hack and Sifax 12-1, Nibalawi 14-1, and we're 16-1 bar.
And you're going first, Frank?
Yeah, I'm going to throw one of the big massive price in here each way with the 6 places. Yukon Glen, he was quietly fancied for the Cesarovich over 2 miles too last month. And he disappointed a little bit there, but if you go
Nothing disappointed us about the Cesarovich, did it, Frank?
If you ask him, the highlight of the flat season was the Cesarovich. But he was probably, 2 miles 2 was probably a bit far from him. He'd shown improved form up to 2 miles at Ascot, beating Burren Fire in Sugar Cup Day. He was third behind Magic Circle over 2 as well. Now, I don't think the drop in trip will be too much of an inconvenience. He should handle the ground fine, and you imagine he'll go a right clip here and turn into a stamina test. You only have to go back to June at Ayr. I know it wasn't a very strong race in relation to this kind of a race, but he absolutely hacked up off 88. He's only £3 higher here. He's won at Doncaster before. There's an awful lot to like, and at 20-1, or I think there might even be 25 to out there, I'll take him to hit the frame at a massive price each way.
OK, Frank's going for Yukon Glen. Who are you going for, Mads?
I'm going to do this a bit sort of backwards way and just say I can't have Royal Line at all. I think, he's very, very short on what he's achieved so far. His last run, he was really outpaced. He just looked very, very slow, to be honest. Obviously, he's unexposed and he's got the potential, but no points for originality. I like Dance the Dream and Ian Williams' horse Saunter, who Has got that ability and who was promised a lot, but I think he could get the best out of him now. I think he's having his second run for him. But yeah, Dance the Dream and Saunter the market principles for me. Okay, and how about you, James?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put anyone off the favourite, Royal Line. I know he was beaten last time, but it was a bit of a farcical race. Only 3 runners. He got drawn into a bit of a war with the Mark Johnston horse, Time to Study. He's likely raced, but at a bigger price, and with these enhanced place terms, I like the look of Niblawi. Very consistent horse. I know he generally runs his best races at Ascot, but rarely he finishes out of the frame. And I think this is going to be a bit of a slog in the ground, and that will suit him. And he's also got a young £7 claimer on Jack Osborne. He's going to take £7 off. And we saw in races like the Ebor how useful it is to have these decent claimers on, taking a bit of weight off. So I'm going to go with him at a decent price.
Another big winner for Tony Bloom.
Indeed, yes.
OK, competition winner. Last week we asked who won the November handicap last year, and Steve White from Southampton correctly tweeted in that prize money won it. So well done, Steve. You get a free £25 bet credited to your Paddy Power account. Maddie's back on Monday with another chance to win.
Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes 2nd, 3rd or 4th to the SP favourite in at least 2 races every day this month. Max £25 per race. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Let's turn our attention then to 4 fascinating races down at Wincanton. There'll be a nice big crowd down there. It's always a really good meeting, that. 4 races on the ITV4 schedule. Starting at 150 with the Jockey Club Mares Handicap Hurdle. Frank, away you go with the betting.
Yeah, we're favourite The Organist at 9-2, Copper K 11-2, Secret Door 6-1, Tara Booth 13-2, On Demand, and Wizard Sleeve 8-1, and we're 9-1 bar.
Maddie, do you think this could be a pipe opener for The Organist?
It could be, yeah. I mean, she's not...
The Organist, pipe opener.
Very good.
Yeah, I just thought I would just ignore that one, Bruce. Yeah, I mean, The Organist, not for me. She's obviously very talented, but I'm not sure, like you say, first time out. If anyone knows me very well at all, they'll know I absolutely adore Copper K. I've followed her since she won her bumper at Cheltenham. And I think this will be much more her bag. She's had that start over fences where not everything went her way. So if you wanted to look at one at a bigger price, Ellen's Way, I believe, she actually beat Copper K. She was a bit lucky on that occasion, but Sam Twiston-Davies riding for Jeremy Scott, which could be quite interesting. But yeah, I've got to stay loyal to my mare here. Copper K's hugely talented, and I think this will be much more her bag, and she's fit.
Copper K, one of Maddie's cliff horses. James, who'd you like?
Well, I'm sure Copper K is going to run well. She's very consistent. This is a very competitive race. I think I'll go with The Organist with all this forecast rain. She does seem to go well on soft ground, as all Oliver Sherwood's horses tend to. She's quite well handicapped as well. I mean, she was unlucky, certainly unlucky not to finish second at Cheltenham last April. She went for a run up the rail, didn't get it, and that cost her a good 5 lengths. So she might, on that run, she might have been a few pounds higher. And providing she's straight enough first time up, I think she can go well.
And Frank, given the Organist runs in the green and gold, are we expecting some morning market clues there?
You'd imagine. So we're ducky at the moment. There's as big as 8-1 out there, and to be honest, that tempted me in. Like, she clearly was absolutely terrible at jumping fences. Reverted to hurdles, ran okay in the mare's hurdle. She was 7th, beaten 15 lengths, which wasn't too bad considering it was a pretty strong renewal. And as James alluded to there, she was particularly unlucky at Cheltenham in April. It's difficult to say she would have won, but I think she would have been second at worst. I think there's plenty of scope off a mark of 135. Like, if you take out the chasing form, she's really consistent. Like, if you go back even to April 2016, she was going to dot up off the mark of 135, and she fell at the last. For me, I think she's a cracking bet, and I'd be having to cut off her. I'd say that 8-1 won't be lasting too long. I'd say.
You're going to get stuck in, are you, Frank, on The Organist? OK, quick word on the 225. It's the Jockey Club Rising Stars novice steeplechase. It's only 3 runners, 4-6 Modus, 7-4 Calondra, 8-1 Valhalla. Maddie?
I mean, it's hard to say much about these sort of races, isn't it? Modus, I mean, he made a good start and he looks the class horse. But I would say, I don't think he's perhaps going to get an absolute cakewalk. Calandra's a very decent hurdler and made a really nice, smooth chasing debut. So, yeah, I mean, it's a 3-runner race. It's a shame there's not more runners in it, but Modus would be hard to beat. But I don't think he'll have it all his own way.
You going to have a bet here, James?
I might do, you know. Modus didn't really look a natural jumper last time, and these fences at Wincanton do take some jumping. They're quite big. Calandra's always looked a chasing prospect to me, and he was also pretty decent over hurdles. So, you know, they're both carrying the same weight. So, yeah, I might have a wee bit on Calandra.
You're going to get involved?
Two votes for Calandra.
2 votes for Calandra, yeah. What about you, Frank? Does this do it for you?
No, I'd probably make a cup of tea while that race is on.
Okay. I don't believe you make tea. I bet you have a tea boy over there.
Oh, no. I do most of the making the tea for the office. The rest of them are lazy out, so...
Really?
I do it. Yeah, yeah.
We have a few of them, don't we? People don't
man
get
of the
their
people
round.
group. Man of the people.
I'm glad to hear it. Now, this is a heat and a half. 3 o'clock, it's the Stan James Elite Hurdle, Grade 2, 2 mile, and should be a really cracking heat. This very insightful as far as the rest of the hurdling season goes. What's the latest betting, Frank?
Yeah, we gave us a bit of rejigging this morning. Charbel is now favourite, 11-4. Lockdorg Spirit, 7-2. Flying Tiger and London Prize are both 9-2. Zubair, 11-2. Coeur de Leon, 15-2. And Old Melodic Rendezvous is 33-1.
Why did you have such a big rejig? What was the fresh info that you had there?
I think when it was priced up on Monday, they thought Charbel wouldn't run. And now that he's declared, I think... he looks particularly well treated off 149. I might as well go into what I fancy. I think Charbel will make them all go here. 149 you go. He probably ran in one of the hottest Supremes ever, bar probably the one that Alfroff, when he beat Spirit Sun and Sprinter Sacra, was probably the only one that matches up to the one Altior won. He was 5th. Like, if you go through the race, Jesus, it was...
I know, it's astonishing, wasn't it?
Absolutely. An amazing race. Altior beating Maine, Bouverdare, Tombstone. Super Sunday won a Coral Cup. Team Mouchoir favourite for the Arkle. North Hill Harvey won a Greatwood. Absolutely incredible race. And here he is running off 149. Now, who's to say whether he would have beaten Altior in the Arkle? He probably wouldn't. But still, he was putting it up to him. And Altior is considered one of the most exciting prospects in training. If this Charbel's ready to go, he is a good thing.
Do you know what? It takes me so long to get over bets. There were two things happened at Cheltenham last year that absolutely slaughtered me. And one was... obviously Mellon getting beat, but Charbel, I thought he was going so well. I was on all sorts of prices there, so I'm going to get my money back tomorrow, am I, Frank, on Charbel? Yeah.
You're trusting he's going to be fit, but he won first time out in 2015, and he won first time out over fences last year. So you'd imagine he'll be ready to rock. And off 149, Jesus, yeah, he'd take these apart. If he's ready to
take these apart. Do you agree, Maddie?
Well, you're making me a bit nervous because obviously Charbel is a classy horse and you are just banking on him being ready. But I've actually had a bet on this race already. I backed Lockdog Spirit earlier in the week up, I think about 5-6 to 1 or something like that. If you remember, after he won at Kempton last year, they were talking him up as a massive Supreme horse. He might have even been contesting for favouritism at one point. Disappointed then at Ascot and then won again afterwards. But I just think this horse, he jumps so well. He obviously likes the soft ground early on in the season. The time to catch him, and obviously it is a really, really tough race with Charbel in there, but off a mark of 137 I think he's the one for me, and I put my money where my mouth is now, so I can't go back.
Okie dokes. James, what's your view of this one?
I think it's difficult to argue against what Frank's saying. I mean, Charbel is definitely well handicapped. I'm too a bit nervous about how fit he'll be, but I mean, you look at his record first time out, it's immaculate. Last 3 seasons he's won first time out. And he goes well fresh. He was running a cracking race in the Arkle. Might well have won it had he not come down, and he was coming into that after the break. So I think I've got to go with him because nothing really amongst his rivals I think is too concerning. I mean, I think the ground has gone against the 2 horses who run on the flat, London Prize and Zubair. They won't like the forecast rain. The 4-year-olds have got a lot to prove, and I think Lockdog Spirit's got a lot to prove on form as well. So really, with his record first time out being so good, I've got to go for Charbel.
Okay, let's look then at the highlight of the card. It's the 3:35, the Badger Ales Trophy. 3-mile chase, as usual, loads and loads of runners, loads and loads of chances, and a nice wide open market. Frank, take us through the front runners.
Yeah, Present Man is favourite at 6 to 1. Southfield Theatre and Fletcher's Flyer, along with Southfield Royale, are 8 to 1. Yala Enki 10 to 1. Double Shuffle, Mr. Mix, Pilgrim's Bay, Victor Tuzane, and Henlin Harry 12 to 1. And we're 16 to 1 bar.
James Hill, you can go first.
Well, I was keen on Mr. Mix earlier in the week. I'm a bit nervous about his jumping anyway, but now the rain's coming. It's difficult I think, to look beyond Yalarenki here. He's at about 151. That's as high as you want in terms of ratings. But his record first time out's very good. He was third in that valuable fixed brush hurdle Betfair Chase at Haydock last season, and the year before that, 2015, he won a race at Exeter where the form worked out very well. Does seem to go very well fresh and at this time of year. And now the rain's coming for him. And with Venetia showing signs that she's coming into form a bit over the last week or so, he jumps well, so I've got to go for him.
I quite fancy the other Venetia, Victor Tuzan. Who do you like, Max?
Yeah, Jimmy said he mentioned Mr. Mix on the Monday postcast, and actually I really liked him as well. It is a worry, as you say, is chasing experience, but what he's done so far, you can't really complain. That form behind Mia's Storm that he's got, that's worked out really well, and obviously you know he stays this trip and he's as fit as a fiddle. So when it's likely to be a slog in this ground, that's always a benefit. I don't really have a strong opinion, but I would say one that I'm keeping an eye on for races in the future is Final Nudge. I think he was going really well when he fell in, I think it was the Utoxeter Midlands National, and I think he could have another one of those long distance handicaps in him, but yeah, not this race for him. So perhaps Mr. Mix tentatively.
Frank, are you tentative or confident?
No, very tentative in this race. Again, it's a bit of a guessing game to see who's going to be, fully wound up for this and who's probably using it as a stepping stone to maybe the old Hennessy. But I'm going to give a tentative vote to Fletcher's Flyer. Obviously, for Harry Fry's as shrewd as they come. This horse is a Punchestown Festival winner of only, £5 lower than what he's running off here. He fairly well bolted up, and he'd a very light campaign last year. He was he ran that Silver Cup handicap chase at Ascot, and then he ran in the Reynoldstown before being pulled up for the Irish National. Now, he was only a 10-1 shot in that Irish National, and he's won it with Canton on heavy ground as a novice hurdler, so I think the ground should hold no fears, track should hold no fears. If he's wound up, I think he's still very fairly handicapped, and 8 or 10-1, whatever he is out there, is a fair each way price.
Right, well, away from the glare of the live TV cameras, in terms of ITV, obviously Racing UK will be broadcasting it. It's the 250 at Aintree, and it's another 3-runner race, but some big names in here. It's the Reed Noel Feely at 188 bet hurdle, 2.5 miles on good to soft ground. We don't have prices yet, but the runners are, you know what I mean, Harry, Top Notch and Value at Risk. Just hearing those names gets us going, doesn't it, for the winter ahead. Now then, is there a bet here, James, do you think?
Yeah, I think there could be. Top Notch, he's back at the hurdle, so I think getting a bit of weight from you know what I mean, Harry, I think that gives him a chance.
It's getting £8.
Well, that's a lot. You know what I mean, Harry does go very well fresh. Top Notch probably isn't at his best first time out, but one thing I've always thought about Top Notch is he would love Aintree over hurdles. He's a really good jumper of hurdles, and just getting that weight, what with the rain coming and stuff, that could swing things in his favour. So I'll be interested to see, if you know what I mean, Harry does go a favourite. That could leave a bit of juice for Top Notch at the prices.
A race to watch and savour or bet on?
Yeah, watch and savour for me. I think I can't really add much more to what Jimmy said. You know what I mean, Harry? Obviously top class and Top Notch getting that weight, it's just going to be a watching brief for me.
How about you, Frank?
Yeah, I'll just watch it. Like, you know what I mean, Harry, you'd probably be vulnerable over 2.5, and you'd expect Top Notch to put it up to him, but it wouldn't be a race that would excite me now from a betting point of view.
How might you be pricing it up, do you think?
Oh, I haven't a clue off the top of my head. I assume, you know what I mean, Harry probably be fav, but I don't think there'd be much in it. I think they'd be pretty close in the market, to be honest.
All right, well, before we get the naps, we'll do all the other horses that you fancy on Saturday that aren't your nap, but which you definitely want to get out there so that you can look very, very shrewd and help listeners win even more money. James, how many have you got?
I just got one at Doncaster and the 1 o'clock. That's the Apprentice Handicap. Fingal's Cave. From form earlier in the season, he's very well handicapped. Hasn't been in great form lately, but he was coming off the back of a small break at Catterick last time. Might have come on from that. He'll like the soft ground, and he's dropped about £6 over the last few months, so that definitely gives him a chance here in this weeker race.
How about you, Maddie? What have you got for us?
I'm not on Saturday, but I do have a few on Sunday,
okay,
so it
we'll
might be best to come back to me.
Frank, how many are in your roundup?
David Jennings style monologue coming up here now. I have absolute bucket loads, I fancy.
Oh, good. You crack on, my friend. As long as the people know the name of the horse and the race and the meeting, grab a pen and paper. I take it away, Frank Hickey.
Yeah, first, Wincanton 1240 is a very exciting novice hurdle. If the cap fits, won really well on his hurdles debut at Exeter, and he was a good bump horse, winning twice and a close fourth in the Aintree bumper. He's up against Paul Nicholls' horse called Montes Avaloir. Probably my French pronunciation is terrible, but he was a good bumper winner at Chepstow last time. I think if the cap fits, the fact that the Nicholls horse is in there and Paul Nicholls has won this the last 3 years, you might get a little bit of a price around the cap fits, hopefully. I think he's one to watch for the spring in mind. But form that ties in with that, Mondes Avaloir, his bumper win at Chepstow, he beat a horse called the Russian Doyen, who runs in the bumper at Chepstow, 410. If he improved any little bit for that run, he'll prove tremendously difficult to beat. In the 135 Doncaster, Bertie Whittle is a horse that goes really well at Donny. He's finished in the first 7 times from 11 runs. He was just touched off in this race last year, off a pound lower, beaten by Oh This Is Us, who, as we look now, was incredibly well handicapped. And he ran a cracker at Newmarket last time behind the very progressive Maxime, who ran really well in a good handicap at Ascot that Accidental Agent won. I think he's a very consistent horse. Like, I'm not saying he'll definitely win or anything, but I think he'll probably be an each way price. It'll be a double figure price. I think you can back him each way. At Aintree, I know I have a load of notes. At Aintree, the 140 winning try looked like he badly needed the run at Newton Abbott over 3 miles. The handicapper has very kindly dropped him £3. He was a very nice winner at the Air Festival last year off a mark of 121, and he's only running off 128 here. Paul Nicholls' horses, if they're not ready to go first time out, are improving massively for the run. So I think he'll go well in the 140. In the 215, this on tour of Evan Williams, like perhaps he wouldn't be as classy as a few in this race, but he was second, beaten a length last year by Thomas Brown off £2 higher than what he's running off here. Mitch Bastian, who's a claimer everyone needs to know about, he's absolutely fantastic. Value for £5 is riding, taking off a handy 5. And the Yard of hit form as well. They had a couple of winners during the week. But this horse's record fresh is absolutely brilliant. He was second last year in this race, I said, but the 3 years previous he won first time out, and including that he beat a Tag O'Trail at Exeter on soft ground in a novice chase, which is no mean feat at all to beat that horse on soft ground. So I think he can go well. Again, he should be a price. In the 325 at Aintree as well, Ballyhill makes his handicap chase debut. Now he's run twice over fences, beaten by Unda So comprehensively enough at Warwick, but he ran with a great deal of promise. But then last time at Cheltenham, he was only 2 3/4 lengths behind Nortil Harvey and Unda and Sky Royale again. You would think that's pretty decent form at this time of year, and he gets in here off a mark of 133. Now he might be better over 2.5 miles, and he's one I tell you to put in the tracker for perhaps the Cheltenham Novice Handicap in March. But if he runs up to form at all and the 2 miles is no inconvenience, I think he'll take an awful lot of beating off 133. It looks a gift. Then we move to Naas, 1205. Red Jack, who was such a good bumper performer last year for Noel Meade, makes his hurling debut. Like, he beat horses such as the Boucher and the Riechberg on his bumper debut and followed up with a valuable Fairyhouse bumper. He's a really exciting prospect. We'll get a good line of how good he is because his mortal Joseph O'Brien was a very nice winner at Limerick on debut. The second Zen Master has gone across to Charlie Man and won a maiden hurdle at Market Raisin. So we'll get a good idea how good he is, but I expect Red Jack to win tomorrow, and we should be seeing him in the spring festivals all going well. I was willing to give him the 12:35, the grade 3 chase. American Tom is obviously very lightly raced and obviously had a few issues, and Baldark is giving £9 to the field here. So I thought Ordinary World looked to have a decent shot, considering he was placed in a grey one, a Leopardstown behind Mill, was third in the Arkle, and was second in the grey one, a punch on the grey field, getting away from Baldark, and with American Tom being a bit brittle and not the most consistent of jumpers, I thought he might take the beating. The 110, the grade 3 hurdle, Duke had the tie. Now he's a bit defined and he's quite a big price, but he beat a horse called Dame de Campagner in France last time out, and Dreamcatching was third. Like, Dreamcatching's with Paul Nicholls now. I think he's rated 130 odd, and Dame de Campagner has moved to Nicky Henderson, and they're very excited about him. He was a very good winner in his debut for Nicky at Utoxeter last week, and they're excited about that. Now, if that Duke of the Thay can improve for the switch to Gorn, which no doubt he will, he might actually surprise the likes of Mary DeVee and Expatriate. And then, well, I'm not tipping up, the 145, a cracking maiden hurdle. Next destination runs against Paloma Boo, Someday and Palisator. Absolutely a race for the ages already this early in the season. Paloma Boo was one I'm very excited about for this year. He won his bumper debut and then was second in the Grey One Punchestown bumper. He's one to keep on side. And then the 330. I've heard good things about how Bacardi's has been jumping at home, and he makes his chase debut in what's another cracking race when he runs against Snow Falcon, Avenue John V, and the likes of the Plotting Shed. That's a very competitive beginner's chase. But if what I've heard about Bacardi's is true, he won't only be winning tomorrow, he will be going very close in the spring festivals as well.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I think David Jennings flew about 700 miles closer to Ireland from Melbourne during that. Well done, Frank. Fantastic. I don't think that... How many horses were in there? There's about 14, wasn't it? I think if you want to have a multiple, there isn't a name for that.
Any races left?
Yeah, no, that's right. OK, good stuff, Frank. Well done. Right, it's nap time. 3, 2, 1. This will not be beaten. James Hill.
I'm going to go for Lewis Vac Patch in the 140 at Aintree. That's a Pertemps qualifier. He ran very well. He's got a progressive profile, but he ran particularly well in the Silver Trophy at Chepstow last time, and that form is beginning to look seriously hot. I think the 7th and 8th or 6th and 7th have won since, Old Guard being one of them. And the 2nd and 3rd, they'd won their previous 2 starts. So, I mean, they finished closely together, but it does look a really competitive renewal, and I expect to see a few more winners from that. The issue with Louis Vac Pouch is the trip, because he's never been this far before. The ground shouldn't be a problem. It will be soft, but if he can settle, hopefully he'll get the trip and come home in front.
Maddie Plale, who's your nap?
I'm going to stick with where I put my money and go against all the others on Charbel and hope that Lockdog Spirit, I mean, I think he's very, very talented. That mark underestimates him, and you have to be wary. I know Charbel's got a great record fresh, but he is carrying an awful lot of weight, and if the ground gets testing, then I don't think it'll be a freebie by any means. So I've got to be loyal, Lockdog Spirit in the elite hurdle.
And Frank Hickey.
3 o'clock Wincanton. Maddie to lose her money because Charbel's going to win.
OK, fair enough. Excellent stuff. We'll look at Sunday next.
Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes 2nd, 3rd or 4th to the SP favourite in at least 2 races every day this month. Max £25 per race. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back. It's the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington, and I'm in the studio with Maddie Plale and James Hill, and also from Paddy Power. On the line, we've got Frank Hickey. So we've got some great stuff at Nav, and it really is a good card there. But first of all, we'll look at Sandown, and a real treat for us. Don't normally get horses of this quality running on a Sunday, but it's the 220. It's the 188bet Future Stars Intermediate Chase. 4 runners: Frodon, Might Buy, Asdemi, and La Belle des Oboes. So really, really interesting one, this. Maddie, I guess we're looking at Might Buy to win this and then go on to really be a dominant force this season. How much are you looking forward to seeing him, A, on Sunday, and B, for the rest of the winter?
Oh, massively. I mean, I'm probably going to be going on Sunday, so fingers crossed that Might Bite turns up and just blows them all away, to be honest, because he should be beating these, I think, if he's to, fulfil any of that promise we saw last season. Just an exciting horse to watch. He really does get the blood pumping. And yeah, I think the rest in here, they're very good horses in their own right, but their targets lie elsewhere, and he should just be able to absolutely breeze through this.
Do you have Might Buy as a very much the horse to beat this winter in all the big 3 mile chases, James?
Yeah, he's my horse to follow this winter. Very excited about seeing him on Sunday. Expect him to win, and I'm very hopeful he's going to prove the star of the season. King George and Gold Cup. I hope he can win them both.
Yeah.
Frank, go on, Matt.
Sorry, just a note on that. If you remember last year, he would have won the Feltham, the Corto Star Novice Chase. His time would have been like ridiculously faster than Thistlecrack's in the King George. So that's, for me, as a massive Thistlecrack fan, really exciting in itself. So I can't wait to see him.
And what about you, Frank? Where do you have Might Bite this season? Do you think he'll sweep all before him?
I think he obviously will win on Sunday. I think he'll win the King George. I think he'll get done at Cheltenham, though.
Who by?
But I think... I've won at a massive price, but I'm keeping it under my hat for now. Wait to see what's...
Oh, sorry, we don't play that sort of music. You can't keep it under your hat.
Right, I'll say it. I've started back in Coney Island already. I think it was an absolutely ridiculous price in comparison. I know our Duke scored badly last week, but comparison to our Duke and Disco, I'll tell you something now, he's the classiest of the lot of them. And as long as that's what the aim is, I think he's going to be no 33-1 shot come March. Now there is a small chance to run the Ryanair, but if he rocks up in the Gold Cup, it means he'll have been campaigned there and run well. I think he'll be a single-figure price. I think he's an absolute tool. My issue with Mike Bite is I don't think Cheltenham is his best track. Now, I know he won the RSA last year, but if he does that if he displays those sort of antics next year in the Gold Cup, there isn't a prayer he can win. But I think he's an absolute monster of a horse, and Kenton, he's going to be nigh on impossible to beat.
But you're lining up one of the all-time great Frank Hickey punts on Coney Island for the Gold Cup, are you? To be honest, I'm on the verge of going down to Eddie Harty's yard and begging him to campaign.
Don't run in the iron.
Eddie's a lovely man. He'll listen to you, I'm sure.
I would tell you this: if Coney Island wrapped up in the Gold Cup, it'll be retirement money. What we'd be looking at come that stage.
You've already got retirement money, Frank. You've won more than any of us can ever dream of.
It's topping up.
I mean retiring to Barbados, not the West Cork.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, good. Well, we're going to have to join in now, aren't we? We're all going to have to go. This office doesn't have any betting shops anywhere near it, by the way, does it? But can you get Paddy Power to open a betting shop near South Bank Central, please, Frank? There's 150, 200 mug punters all sitting there, and we've all got to walk about 10 minutes to find the nearest betting shop. It's no good. Apart from that, it's nice. Okay, now, what else on Sunday are you looking forward to, Maddie? Have you got one for us at Sunday?
I have, yeah. In the, bear with me, 255, a mare called Maria's Benefit, similar to the Copper K thing. Very girly. I've followed her for a long time. She's fit, and I think she's ridiculously well handicapped off that mark. She beat a horse called Al Shahir, who finished, I believe, second to another horse that I love, Kalashnikov, at Wetherby last weekend. Also beat Rock Point on its last run, who since ran an absolute stormer in that race, won by, I think it was the Brown Bear at Ascot. So Maria's Benefit, I think she runs in that. She'll be flying up the hill, and I really, really like her an awful lot, so keep your eye on her. Irish Prophecy's another one to note for Emma Lavelle. I think he's unbeaten, and he runs in the maiden hurdle. And then we have that lovely, lovely veterans race that we get around Sandown that I absolutely love, and I think Oublon des Obeaux is worth a mention in that.
Will it be soft enough? Should be, shouldn't it?
I hope so. I mean, I think he's really well treated on the best of his form. Even if you look at last season, he's not actually been given that much of a hard time. I think he's sort of been plodding around in those big, classic chases and races like that, finishing about 4th. So I think, now he's running in these veteran chases. Charlie Deutsch is on for Venetia. What's not to like? So keep your eye on Oublon des Obeaux.
In the 3:30, James, what have you got for us at Sandown?
Yeah, I've also got one in the 2:55. I'm going to go for the top weight Fiddux. Probably last season he was a bit high in the handicap, but he did run very well at Sandown at the Bet365 meeting in April. And a return to that form will give him a good chance here. They're putting up Kevin Dowling. He's going to take off £10. So that's a big help. I think that makes him very well treated. I'm not sure this is the best race in the world. So I'm going to go for him.
I'm pretty sure it's not the best race in the world. I'm almost certain of that.
Yeah,
that's a safe prediction.
Or maybe maybe a few rungs lower down than that. But providing the ground is not too soft, he'll be my tip in the 2:55.
Okay, let's go across to Navan, where there's some really good action there and some good pointers for what's to come. I suppose the highlight of the card is the 4-Trier Chase. Frank, I'm just going to let you let rip at Navan on Sunday. Who should we be backing?
Yeah, Jesus, the 4-Trier Trace. I'll give you the prices. Alicia Delarn is 5-4, the Game Changer 7-4, Clarkham 6-1, Fine Riley 8-1, and 14-1 Bar. Not a race that excites me greatly. I'd probably sit that one out. If you made me have a bet, I'd probably back Alicia Delarn, but yeah, I won't be having a bet there. Apple's Jade runs in this Liz Mullen hurdle. She should be very difficult to beat. She runs against Jars Girl and Monksland. Again, it's Apple's Jade 2-5, Jars Girl 4-1, Monksland 5-1, and we're 50s Bar. In the 110, Mengley Khan runs against Stratham. Again, probably, I think we were hoping to see Sam Crow out, but Mengley Khan takes the place. I think Mengley Khan might be the one there. And then there's a beginner's chase at 2:45. Footpad runs against Breelad. That's an exciting race. Probably fall down the side of Footpad. Yeah, so that's it from Navan. I'm with Maddie in that 2:55. I think Maria's Benefit is really well handicapped off 117. I think she will go. She will go very well. Like if you think about it, Dame Rose won the entry bumper for Mares, and she was giving and Maria's Benefit was giving £11 to her the day she was beaten. So I think 117 underestimates her ability. And Dame Rose wasn't disgraced at Newbury yesterday, carrying a penalty against Capsule. And just won at possibly a big price in the 12.45 Sandown. Sonny Taliktigan, I can't pronounce it, it's impossible. But it was very well supported at Cheltenham last time in the race. Bobble Emerald won. Man of Plenty was an unlucky second. But I thought 2 miles was probably a bit sharper. He could never really up them, he was always at it. But he returned to 2.5 miles here, and he's actually been dropped £2. I think he can go well. I'm a massive fan of Ian Williams. I think he's one of the best trainers around, particularly when they go for a little bit of a touch. And if you see if you bob for this, I'd follow it in.
Sonny Talatiga. No, it was good. You pronounced it well. Number 12.
First race of Foss Last. Another one of my favourite trainers, an unheralded Welshman called John Flint. He probably doesn't get enough good horses for the ability he has, but he runs one called Arian in the maiden hurdle. This is a banger bumper winner at I think about 50 to 1 last year, and wasn't disgraced in a maiden hurdle here over 2 miles last time. Only caught late by Woolstone 1, who was on its first start for Emma Lavelle from Harry Whittenden. I think if it repeats that form or steps up any little bit, it'll be very difficult to beat.
Okay, and Maddie, have you got anything at Navan?
I'm not going to lie, no. I think it's all pretty much for watching brief. There's a lot of those match racy type things. I do think Brellard is a really good horse, so I'd be maybe opposing Frank's choice with him. But yeah, I think just excited to see Apple's Jade, but from a betting perspective, I'll just watch this Irish stuff. Jimmy,
anything in Ireland for you?
Well, I don't really think there are any serious bets at that meeting. I'm looking forward to seeing Footpad in the 245 over fences. I think he could go far as a chaser. I'll probably go for Alicia Dearlond in the big race at 210. He's got a good record fresh. I'll go for Mingley Khan to overturn Stratham in the novice hurdle, the 110. I think that the ground might be a bit too soft for Willie Mullins' horse in that.
Smashing stuff. Okay, what's the weekend plans, James? What are you up to?
I'm hoping I can get to Wincanton tomorrow afternoon.
What would stop you getting there?
I've just got to meet some friends and stuff beforehand, so hopefully I can just kind of slip away from the do and get there in time for the elite hurdle. Yeah, but yeah, back here on work on Sunday, but yeah, gonna have a good day tomorrow.
And what about you, Maddie?
The opposite way round. I'm working tomorrow, but then Sunday I hope to go to Sandown and win the absolute lot.
Oh, good stuff. You were in Huntingdon last week, weren't you?
No, I wasn't. I didn't go in the end. No, but yeah, I absolutely love Willoughby Court. It was a bit hair raising, so maybe it was a good job I didn't go. But yeah, I'm gonna make up for it at Sandown
Got it done
Sunday.
in the end, didn't it? Frank, what are you up to, mate?
I'm working tomorrow, but I'm going to the Ireland-South Africa match after work, and then going to head out for a little bit to watch Ireland crush the Danish World Cup hopes.
Yes.
And working Sunday, and then all steam ahead then for Tuesday, where we'll go out to watch the second leg of that soccer. So I'm really excited for that.
Oh yeah, you've got tickets for that, have you, at the Aviva?
We're still working on it. They're like gold dust, but I'm hopeful we'll pull one out of the hat yet.
Well, let's just hope they don't get beat 3-0 in the first leg, because then you'd be able to get one for about €10. Okay.
No, we're impossible to beat that like that. It'll be 1-0 either way on Saturday.
Yeah, it should still. The tie should still be in the balance, shouldn't it? Come the second leg.
I'd be absolutely shocked if it's not. Yeah.
Good luck with that. Okay, Frank, thank you very much. Thank you, Maddie. Have you enjoyed being tips rather than presented this week?
I love it. I wish I could do it more often.
Okay, I'm sure that can be arranged. And James, well done. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for listening or watching. Don't forget, if you do like the shows, do please rate us and leave a review on iTunes. Maddie's back on Monday. I'm back next Friday. Good luck. Have a great weekend.
Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes second, third or fourth to the SP favourite in at least 2 races every day this month. Max £25 per race. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.